Yeah. Yeah, mods. Can you ping the computer science role? We're gonna start at 0910 today. All right. We're gonna we're ordering a shawarma, kids. By the way, I'm talking about a shawarma without vegetables. Yes, of course, all the mods come after the event start. Yo, well, oh my God, there's 4 mods in this machine. Y'all too late, man. I had to ping every single one of you. This, all right, kids. Looks like we're ordering shawarma. Since you're leading today's class, you wanna record the class?
All right. Uh, we'll wait for 30 more seconds in case anyone's missing.
Bet. Okay, I'm gonna try on deciding what shawarma to order.
Hmm. Sorry. I'm sorry.
We have the best internet bros from Mars. Oh my freaking God. See, now that's the cool people. How's everybody doing today? See, you care for each other's. You know, you go up to a random person on the street, you go up, hey man, how you doing? If he asks you something like, why are you talking to me? Then you just punch him in the face, punch him so hard that his nose starts bleeding because he's not kind. Like if somebody asks me something like, "Yo man, how are you on the street?" I wouldn't start saying stuff like, "Ah, yes. Why the heck are you talking to me?" No. Just pull up to people's houses, knock. If they don't answer, just break the door, go inside and ask them how they are. Because, like, you never know what somebody's going through. Okay, you never know what somebody's going through. Alright, so just knock on the door. If they don't answer, break the door. If they don't answer, that's an insane sign that they're not right. Alright, so if they don't answer, just break the door, go inside, and uh check up on them. Exactly. You gotta always check up on people. Then we go to jail for that. See, that's the government trying to increase. That's the government trying to keep the population stable.
We're gonna get called
All
in for
the
trespassing. Yeah,
listen,
what if
listen.
they're not home? Honestly.
Rules are there to be broken. I mean, like, come on, man.
Yeah. All right. I think we should start. Okay, give me a sec. I'll start my stream. Can you guys see this?
You're visible, yeah. Just make sure that you're recording.
Yeah, I
I
am
will be
recording.
unable to.
Hopefully OBS doesn't mess this up and I don't mess it up. But anyways, okay. So we're gonna be recapping what we did with JavaScript in 5 minutes. So we saw Node.js. We went through the syntax, which is variables with let, var, and const. We discussed the data types, which are integers, like numbers, strings, arrays, which are done with square brackets, and objects, which are key value pairs. For example, A is 1, B is 2. And then you could get a value out of this if you put, for example, A inside square brackets after the variable name. So today we're going to be linking what we've studied here, which is arrays and objects, to the HTML file that we were editing. So I've created a sample HTML file for you guys right here. Give me a sec. So I set this up for you. So what you see right here is a fresh new text box. So we created this using the input tag. I've given it an ID. Let's give it text, and the placeholder the placeholder is a special parameter that works just for the text inputs, and I've put this as enter text. And I've created a script tag right here where we'll be writing a JavaScript. So yeah, one sec. Yes. So if you recall from the previous classes, we can refer to any tags we create with IDs just using them as the variable name. So if we do text dot value, and if we take that and console.log it, you could go to the console right here and have a look as it says nothing, because it is actually nothing. If you give it a default value, so for example, if you do value equals ASD, whatever, so you can see ASD has been logged. So we're successfully getting the value. Now what we want to do is whenever you change something in the input, you want to get the new value and you want to print it. So there's this thing called in text dot on input. So we're going to be setting this event. And now before we set this event, because we did functions yesterday, I want to show you guys a new short and cooler syntax to be able to create functions instantly. So normally what you do is function test brackets and then curly brackets, and then here's where you call whatever you want. But you could also do something like const text test, and I'm going to remove this for you. Okay, let's just keep this, equals empty brackets and arrow. So we're going to be using equals and then the greater than sign, which represents an arrow. And here we could write something like console.log AST. So these two do the same thing, but here we're creating a variable ourselves, and this is the short function syntax. It's not actually named that, but it is a short way to create functions on the fly and maybe not even assign them to variables, just take care of stuff. So we can put an equals right here and put something like brackets and this arrow, which is equals to the greater than sign, and then type down console.log text.value. So if we do that, reload this and type down something like test, you can see that as we change the value in this, we can see that function goes ahead and logs it. So if I write hello, I am Vansh or whatever, it just yeah, it writes down every instant that the change is made. So there's actually a variant of this that prevents this function being called a lot of times. In fact, too many times, it might even slow down your app. So that's called the onChange function. And this is what we normally use onChange. So if we type down test, you can see that nothing has been logged. But when I click anywhere else, when I lose focus, it detects that and then it calls my function which logs your value. And this is usually smoother. It's like not that blocking because JavaScript doesn't call every time you change something. So we're just gonna leave this at that. And for example, I wanna have a button here that brings up an alert dialog. And now you might recall we use alert like this, alert test. And yes, this is how we use alert dialogs. So I wanna create a button that takes this text value and alerts it when you click a button. So if we create a variable, let's call this let text value equals nothing, and here we could do text value equals text dot value, and maybe put curly brackets here so that we can extend this and write console.log text value. So what this will do is whenever there's a change or whenever you lose focus from the text box, it sets the variable of this text value to that and then logs it just for debugging purposes. So let's go ahead and create a button right here. So button, and we're gonna call this show, and we could give this an ID of show button. And we could use this, in fact, to create another function. So show button dot on click equals, and we're going to use the same arrow function syntax, which is brackets, arrow, curly brackets, and then alert text value. So when we do that and we click this show button, you can see that it gives you nothing. That's because we had a default value and we never set this default value. So let's just remove this. And when we we type hello and show, wait, there seems to be a little bit of, okay, yeah, value. That was, yeah, my bad. So hello, and we do show, it gives you an alert and says hello. Yes, and we could do a lot of things with this. So for example, when you take this text value and press dot, it gives VS Code, the IDE that I'm using, gives you all the different options of how you could play with the string. So for example, there's an interesting function here, to uppercase. Sorry for this. Yeah, to uppercase, and if we call that, and yes, it's a function, we can call this, so it converts this value to its uppercase format. So when we do hello, says in uppercase hello, CS rocks, it does in fact show it in uppercase. And we could do the same thing, like to lowercase, and it would CS rocks, yes. And maybe let's just try something new. So if we take this text value, and now I'm gonna use the array. So I'm gonna create let text array equals nothing. I mean square brackets. Let's just use square brackets. And if we change the text array, and I'm going to use a special syntax. Now I'm going to use an ellipsis and then type down text value. What this does is that it breaks up this text value, it breaks it up into parts, and then uses this ellipsis to send them to the text array. So if we alert the text array, and if we say hello and do that, you can see that it has split it up in commas, and we could actually play with this. So if we remove the square brackets and ellipsis and do something like text value dot split, and this is a function that you can use on strings. So if we do split and then you pass on a space bar, so you can see the split function is used like this. You give a separator, so this could be a string or a regex string, which we'll get to later. So if we split it by space and alert it, so if you write, for example, CS rocks, it will break that up into commas and show CS comma rocks. And we could do stuff like this because text array is an array. You could use the square bracket format and put down a value like 1, so it will show you the second word, CS rocks for real, and it will show you the second word, which is rocks. So you can play with stuff like that. Yes, are there any questions from you guys? Okay, I'm gonna assume there are none. So let's move on. Okay, by the way, these functions that I created, on click, on change, these are called event listeners, and there's something special that you have to keep in mind with them. So for example, as we covered in the first few days of learning HTML, it is usually preferred to keep the script tag in head at all times. So this is normally preferred because when you're loading your page, the scripts have to load first and then your HTML. So you could play with more stuff, maybe do something before the HTML has been shown. That's up to you, but this is actually the convention. We keep scripts inside head. But when we do that, we get a strange error. reference error text is not defined. And yes, we have the text tag here, but at this point, because we're before the point where the text input has actually been rendered, this script tag doesn't in fact detect that there's a text input coming up. So we can change that using a parameter to this script tag, and if we write down that parameter is called differ. So what differ does is that it waits for the whole page to load, and then it will call your script at the very end by this an HTML tag. So when you do that, it should work, but it's not working. Let's just leave it this way for now, because we're not playing with scripts before. Yes, but that's what you normally do. You create a script tag, and you could put down differ so that it will run at the last when everything's loaded, and we'll see how that comes in handy later. Thank you, Josepha. uh yes, let's see what's next. uh so I've created this sample HTML file for you, where there are two inputs. So let's go to this HTML code. Let's hide the styles to make it easier. So you can see that there are two divs, and inside those there are inputs, where you have kilometers per hour and meters per second. These are two inputs. Now, our task with this file will be to use this conversion ratio to make these text boxes come alive. So what we have to do is create a JS script that handles live conversion between kilometers by hour and meters per second. So I went ahead and created a demo for you guys. So for example, if you're 1200, 1200 or 300 or 400, you can see that whenever you change any text box, the other text box updates the value as per the given unit live. Now, I would love one of you from the chat to explain how would you personally implement this code. I'll be waiting. To remind you guys, what we have to do is create a script that will link these two text boxes and make them come alive. That is, when you change one of the text boxes, the other one should update. You would use onChange to immediately convert the values, and to actually do that, you would create a function that takes the input of kilometers per hour divided by this, and create a new variable that would contain meters per second. Uh, do you want to go there? Yes, that is in fact the perfect algorithm, but you'll let me remind you, you'll have to do this both ways. When you change one text box, the other should change, and when you change the other text box, the first one should change as well. And yes, I would prefer it if you do it in code. Let's see what you guys come up with. If you want the HTML code, I'll just post it right here for you so that you can test by yourself. There you go. Text on change creates an error function. Yes. Let meters per second is kilometers per hour by 3 by 6. Yes, that is correct, but you have to change these values live when the input boxes change, and then change the value of the other text box when you do that. And by the way, I'll let you guys know that when we're using these values, so here I used text.value. If you do text.value equals and then put down your own text, so for example, hello, you'll see that when you do this, it will actually update the text. So you could use text.value equals anything to set the value of any text box you want. Everyone else, I would also suggest that you guys also contribute. Just one person. Got it. Cool. Text text values, text of value, text value divided by 3.6. Okay, so what I just showed you, if for example you put down this text dot value equals and then put anything else you want, this could be a variable, this could be any data type you want, it would set the value of this text box equal to that. So you could use text dot value, you could use meters per second dot value equals and then your new calculated value. So that would just update the text box. Kilometers don't change values. Meters per second equals kilometers per hour dot value This divided by 3.6. Yes, you're almost there. By the way, in the HTML file, the IDs for the inputs I've used are KMH and MS. So you could, in your script, you could directly reference them like KMH dot value and MS dot value. So this is how you'd actually access these values and change them. Cos text box is this. There's this text box of value. This is this divided by 3.6. Yes, you're almost there. Okay, I'm just gonna show you guys at this point. Okay, so you were almost there, volt and specs. What you had to do is use the onInput function for KMH and MS both. So for KMH onInput, you would set it, one sec. Yeah, you'd set it to this arrow function, which sets the value of the MS text box equal to the value of the KMH text box divided by 3.6. I'm gonna give you this code right here. You could analyze it. Just this. So what you do here is that you take this onInput function, you create it so that it sets the value of the other text box, which is meters per second, equal to the value of the kilometers per hour text box divided by 3.6. And it's the other way around for MS. So you can see that live, as I type down something like 3600 in the new file, wait, 3600, you can see that it converts this, dividing it by 3.6 and setting it to the value of the MS text box, which in fact is a meters per second text box, equal to 1000. And if you change this, for example, 500, it would live change the value of kilometers per hour equal to that. Yes, that is in fact how you do it. Atib, is there anything you would like to add? I think that's almost all that I've got for today.
Yeah, exactly. You've covered all of it.
Okay, perfect.
I don't think. Yeah.
Okay, and I'm just gonna show you guys a spoiler of what we're gonna be covering soon. So we're gonna be covering this special object that is present in all HTML files. It's called the document object. So if you type down document dot, you can see all these complex functions right here that have to do with the events and elements inside of the HTML tag. So whenever you type on document, you're directly referring to the HTML tag, as if you'd put here id equals document. It's the same thing, but what you're basically doing is that you're looking at the HTML tag and you're going to be changing properties directly using that. And you're going to be changing child elements of the stuff that you find like this. So for example, if you do document.body dot inner HTML. So this is another special variable inside of all tags. So if you take this document.body.inner HTML console.logit, you could see in fact that all the HTML inside of the body tag is printed right here. So we're going to be using special functions that are present in the document element to be able to better play with the tags we want with control. So for example, I think you're accustomed to using CSS selectors. So for example, if I use hash container, I'm looking at whatever has the ID container. If I give this input a class of say text box, and I give this class to both of them, in CSS you would normally refer to them using dot text box and curly brackets. So we can use this special syntax of CSS directly inside of JavaScript. So if we do document dot query selector, So this is what uses the CSS format. And if you put down a string of say dot text box, and if you take that and console.log it, it gives you one of the inputs. So this is the first instance of the dot text box selector that was found. So you're going to be using all these functions inside of the document object to be able to specifically find the tags or the HTML elements that you're looking for and play with them in a better way. So if you do, for example, query selector all, you'll see that we get a list of both of these inputs. And so you could have a very complex, a very convoluted HTML structure and still be able to use this syntax to get the tags you want and change them. So this is gonna be pretty transformative. I'm gonna be looking forward to you guys when we cover this. And yes, for today, I think that is all. So let me just give you a recap of what we did. We found out how to integrate the arrays and objects syntax right into the HTML we use using the dot. And we can use these HTML tags and objects and play with them, add event listeners. So for example, ms.or on input, or in our old code, we use button.onClick to call our own functions. So that is what we essentially covered today. And yes, by the way, I would love to see a lot more of what you guys create in this web development showcase chat. So this is something I'm really looking forward to, and using these new powerful tools of JavaScript that we're learning, there's a lot more of interactivity that you could bring to your own projects that you create with HTML. So yes, using these new tools, I'd love to see what each of you guys create and post there. And it'll be inspiring to each and every one of you. And if you have any issues or if you have any doubts that you'd like any of us to solve, feel free to ping us in the discussion thread. We're always there for you. And as always, we've told you 1,000 times and we'll tell you again, this site, W3 Schools, is extremely goated. So they even have a JavaScript tutorial set up pretty well. So you could look at JavaScript objects and, for example, like cars fiat, and this is the object syntax. It tells you how to play with them using person whatever. So everything that we teach you here and 1,000 more things are all there on this W3 Schools website that you can look at, and feel free to get ahead of what we're doing to implement new stuff in your web apps, because what we're doing here, it isn't limiting. It's just the base to what more advanced stuff you can learn. So yeah, you could go ahead and dive deep in and create your own miraculous stuff using this. And another site we covered was MDN, which has a pretty similar but much more detailed, much more advanced guide to all of this. So for example, if we look at HTML tables, we go to the guide, you could learn how to create grids and tables like these with the guides that they give you, and they give you all the code you need to create this stuff, and you can play with it as you want inside of VS Code and host it, and maybe publish a site of your own that solves a huge issue and brings something really new to the world. Uh, Thank you a lot,
Right.
guys.
You guys. Right, so it's time for the outro. Don't worry, this ain't 2016. I'm not gonna play some cringy outro or something like that. Don't worry about that. I've got two announcements to make. First of all, the thing that Wunsch was talking about, create your own projects. You come to me, you come to him, and we will help you guys deploy those projects. Okay, I'm gonna help you guys personally. If I like it, I'm gonna sponsor the project or whatever, right? So if you guys do make a project, I'm not saying that you should start working on one right now, but after 3 months, when you're done with the course and you guys have made your projects, I'd love to host them for you or whatever, right? And second of all, the October-November session, the October-November 2024 session is approaching us rapidly. I believe from the 30th of September all the way to the 8th of November. No, sorry, even further. Yeah, 15th of November. So, there's gonna be a few changes, okay? So, first of all, we're gonna start noting down whoever attends these classes. Okay, like you guys, you lot that came in today, we're gonna start noting those down. And when the season finally approaches, when the examinations finally begin, we're gonna stop. We're gonna temporarily pause our exam sessions. Sorry, are these kind of sessions during that way. We're still gonna do some. We're still gonna do some, maybe once or twice a week, right? But it will be significantly lower to like it's not gonna be every Monday through Thursday. Maybe on a Monday, maybe on a Friday, depending on the examination schedule that day. Okay, so we understand you guys have exams, and even if you're not able to make it, just cover it up whenever you like. There's gonna be recordings. And second, and yeah, guys, there's gonna be I'm gonna do some CS sessions this time as well. So yeah. Make sure if you have a CS paper in October, November, make sure to attend those as well. We're gonna bring back the OG CS lecture vibes. We're gonna cover the entire CS syllabus just like we used to in 6 hours a day. Anyways, yeah, good luck. And yeah, make sure to keep these things in mind. We're gonna start noting down the people who come here, and we're gonna give you guys priorities based on timings. Okay, so we're gonna start noticing what times you guys are available, and may or may not. Like for instance, if like the lot of you, the people that are actually serious, I'm not talking about the ones that just come in and go off like 5-10 minutes. I'm talking about you lot here that's actually serious about this. If you guys have an examination on a certain day, or have examinations like, or you just want like a few days to prepare, we're gonna prioritize that. We're gonna skip the lecture for that day, and we're gonna move it to a later day in the same week. Okay, so see you guys in tomorrow's class, same timing as always. Have a nice rest of your day. Goodbye, and yeah, order shawarma, and it still hasn't come yet. Goodbye, guys.
Wow. Enjoy your shawarma. Goodbye, everyone.